We start today, we're going to finish gram-positive bacilli today. We start Mycobacterium. Then hopefully this coming Wednesday or Thursday, we're going to have a quiz with gram-positive bacilli. Then after that, we're going to have a quiz also with Mycobacterium. Okay? So next week, college week yun, wala akong gagalawin. This Thursday, we will start Enterobacteriaceae. So the coverage, so I'm looking forward, sinabi ko sa mga section A kanina, para pareho sa inyo, we're going to have a 200 items midterm. Yung 100 items, ibibigay ko na siya next week. So next week, walang pasok. Next week, Monday, discussion pa yan, Enterobacteriaceae. Then after that, laboratory exam Wednesday, midterm. Then Thursday, part 1, exam, 100 items. Cover to cover ng midterm. O at least ang maganda sa inyo, wala kayong violent reaction, mukhang payag kayo. Kasi sa section A, parang ayaw nila. Para 100 items na lang yung exam nyo ng midterm actual. Ha? Oo nga, 200 items. At sa sobrang dami, hindi pwedeng 100 lang yun.
Oo nga, kasi kapag 100 lang, ang konti lang na itatanong.
Diba? Selected lang ang ikukulit ko. Kayo. Sige, kung 100 items na yung quiz nyo, gawin natin 50 items sa Mycobacterium, 50 items sa gram-positive bacilli, 50 items sa Enterobacteriaceae, 150 items. Identification lahat yon.
Hindi ma'am, ano na lang, 100.
At lahat yung quiz na natitira.
Hindi ma'am,
Yung exam multiple choice yon.
Okay na yun.
1 to 100. One of the most ubiquitous bacteria. But when it comes to isolated Corynebacterium in the laboratory, particularly mga pathogen na ito, we have the following. Like for example, Corynebacterium diphtheriae. Now dito, they are ubiquitous but they resist drying. So yun naman ang kagandahan kay Corynebacterium. And at the same time, members of the usual flora of humans and animals are identified with Corynebacterium. Lalo na sa mga animals. But at the same time, ang Corynebacterium natin, yung ating Corynebacterium diphtheriae is considered to be the most significant. Now, tignan natin mabuti, no? Other species dito ng Corynebacterium may cause infection. Pero, these are well identified kapag halimbawa sabihin natin, the patient is actually immunocompromised. Pero one of the most common identified pathogen is Corynebacterium diphtheriae. Now, let's start with general characteristics. Lahat ng Corynebacterium, they can live with or without oxygen. They are gram-positive, rods, walang spores, but they can be palisading. Ibig sabihin ng palisading, they resemble sa tinatawag nating Chinese letter appearance. Pag sinabi mong Chinese letter appearance, makikita mo, pag halimbawa sabihin natin, ito yung itsura ng ating Corynebacterium diphtheriae. So if you will see, under the gram stain, makakakita ka ng ganitong itsura. Okay? That is what you call now palisading. Another, metachromatic. Pag sabi mo metachromatic, they exhibit different colors. No? And they are club-shaped. They contain granules that makes it dark color. Lalo na kapag halimbawa sabihin natin, no? In a certain particular media, we call that Babe's Earth's granules that contains polymerized phosphates. Okay? Now, our Corynebacterium diphtheriae is toxigenic. Anong ibig sabihin nito? It produces toxin. Ang tawag nila dito, toxgene. This toxin actually is a major virulence factor ng ating Corynebacterium. Anong ginagawa nito? Ang ginagawa nito, it causes lysogenized. Ano yon? Pag nagkaroon ng lysogenized, there is an attachment of that particular bacteria in the host cells. Unti-unti niyang sinisira yung ating host cells until there is necrosis. Kaya nangyayari dito, only toxin-producing bacteria can cause diphtheria, which will infect the upper respiratory tract of a certain particular patient. And take note, that toxin production is inversely proportional to iron availability. Kaya pag malnourished ang patient, lalo mga bata, they can be easily attacked by this particular kind of infection. And take note, ang toxin antigenic. Ibig sabihin nito, ginagamit nila ang toxin for us to develop vaccine against Corynebacterium diphtheriae. So, guys, take note that these are what you call now microscopically identified as pleomorphic. Pag sinabi natin pleomorphic, iba-iba ang size and shape. At metachromatic, no? Tapos, they resemble palisading, club-shaped, Chinese letter appearance. For the virulence factor, the tox gene is identified in the following bacteria. The main action, it blocks the protein and therefore inhibit peptide translocation ng ribosome. Kaya napapatay niya ang cell because it inhibits protein synthesis. That's why it include necrosis. No? Example, Corynebacterium diphtheriae, second most ang ulcerans and pseudotuberculosis. Another is dermonecrotic sa skin or cutaneous, like ulcerans and pseudotuberculosis. Enemolysin for destruction of blood cells, like Corynebacterium pyogenes. Pag-usapan natin ang diphtheria toxin. Ang diphtheria toxin is actually produced by a certain particular bacteria wherein there is a lysogenized by bacteriophage. Ibig sabihin nito, nakakapasok ang ating toxin in a certain particular cell. Then this one will able to what we call now destroy the cells automatically. There are two fragments. Una, protein synthesis inhibition. And this is the reason kung bakit napapatay niya ang cells automatically. Hello po. Then after that, it will able to destroy. Kasi it catalyze na eh. Pag nag-ano na siya sa AF2, nag-connect na siya sa EF2, it will able to link with nicotinamide, plus it will now catalyze. Yung catalyzed na yan, pag nasira niya na yan, it can lead to cell death. We call that necrosis. Then after that, kapag halimbawa sabihin natin na napatay na yung cell, that's the time it will now bind to specific cell membrane receptors until other cells will be, of course, no, sabihin natin, will be, of course, infected, and at the same time, mag-multiply yung bacteria. Now, this is the reason why nagkakaroon ng tinatawag dating pseudomembrane formation. What is this pseudomembrane formation that we're talking about? Yung pseudomembrane formation na pinapakita ko dito, the black plaques or the black color, it indicates the presence of the bacteria plus dead cell. Ito yung tinatawag dating pseudomembrane active case of diphtheria. Now, common ito sa my school age children. At the same time, there is the composition of bacteria, the WBC, particular lymphocytes, then fibrin, and dead cells. So, pinapakita dito yung tinatawag nating mga bacteria na kung saan ang pahirap dito guys, no, that can able to block the airway. Ang mahirap, kapag na-block yung airway, there's a possibility that it might difficult for a patient to what you call now, breathe. Kaya may dyspnea. Dyspnea means difficulty of breathing. Okay? So that's actually your diphtheria. And at the same time, respiratory, acquired by droplets, the mode of transmission, or aerosol. Or pwede rin an immunized individual are susceptible to infection. What's the symptoms? Makikita natin dito, may grade of fever, then after that, malaise. Now take note that one of the pathognomonic signs I had mentioned a while ago is that there is the tissue necrosis along the upper respiratory tract, particularly the tonsil. Then after that, there is the top white to gray pseudomembrane. And that is actually the lysogenized, no, bacterial sample with white blood cell, which is actually dark color and leading to difficulty of breathing. Yan ang nagiging problema sa may diphtheria. And of course, ang nakakatakot dito, there are some cases also of what you call now cutaneous. Ibig sabihin ng cutaneous, pwedeng magkaroon ng tinatawag nating extra respiratory infection or invasion. Like halimbawa, cutaneous, no? Particularly in the lower extremities, or because of minor abrasion. In the other hand, kapag ang patient natin is immunocompromised, pwede magkaroon ng systemic infection. At yung systemic infection na sinasabi ko, kapag nasa blood ito, it can lead to a certain particular infection. And at the same time, death occurs due to cardiac failure. Why? Because of difficulty of breathing. Okay? How do we identify? Okay, first, what is gram stain? Sa gram stain, palisading, gram-positive bacilli. Pleomorphic. After that, i-culture natin. Pagka-culture, we can identify in Tinsdale, form brown halo with the cystine sulfur the least because it forms ferrous sulfate, kaya color brown ang colony. Egg and serum medium, these are the protein-based media, pies, Loefflers, and CTA. Ang CTA is originally blood agar plate, pero nilagyan lang natin ng enrichment, cysteine, and telluride. Now, for the Loefflers, they have used to demonstrate this particular media, particularly pleomorphic of the bacteria and metachromatic granules, particularly the bead parents. Tapos, ang cysteine telluride naman, to exhibit hemolytic pattern and to differentiate the different subspecies ng ating Corynebacterium diphtheriae based on their colony morphology in our CTBA. Now, dito sa CTBA, makikita mo that they exhibit underlying brown or grayish color or black color ng ating colonies. Paki-memorize. Var gravis, daisy-head colonist, negative hemolytic pattern, positive for starch hydrolysis. Var mitis, fried egg appearance, hemolytic pattern. They are the only beta hemolytic. And Var intermedus, colorless on back, black on CTA, non-hemolytic. Yan ang ating tatlong variation ng ating Corynebacterium diphtheriae, your Var gravis, Var mitis, and Var intermedius. Next, so this is your Var mitis. Ito yung ating tinatawag na hemolytic. This is the only hemolytic variation, subspecies ng ating Corynebacterium diphtheriae. Intermedius, gray color. Then we have the Var gravis, the fried egg. Medyo mas malalaki ang colony ng ating Var gravis. Next, after that, we can confirm our Corynebacterium diphtheriae by fermentation and urase. Take note that they are urase negative. Plus, toxigenicity test by what you call now ELEC test and ito in vivo test. Pwede natin gamitin ang toxigenicity test by what you call now laboratory animal. ELEC test is a serological test that will identify your, what you call na tinatawag nating Corynebacterium diphtheriae. So dito, gagamit tayo ng ating streak, then PCR for detection of tox gene. Tingnan natin ang ELEC test. Since there is diffusion, immunoserological testing. Dito yung ating positive control, andito yung unknown natin, at andito yung negative control. Pag nagkaroon ng tinatawag nating growth dito, o yung tinatawag nating precipitation dito, or diffusion, that means the positive sa Corynebacterium diphtheriae. Okay? Now, in vivo test, that is the toxigenicity testing, we use to what you call na use suspension. Now this one, gagamit na ng test animal, you will use cell suspension inject. Tapos laboratory animal control naman, suspension ng diphtheriae plus antitoxin. Interpretation. Pag toxigenic diphtheria, patay ang test animal, buhay ang control. Pag halimbawa sabihin naman natin, non-toxigenic naman, buhay pareho. Pag parehong patay, namatay because not of Corynebacterium diphtheriae, but other toxigenic bacteria. Another, kung may Dick's test, may Schick's test. Dick's test is for Staphylococcus pyogenes. Naalala niyo pa? Very good. Ang Schick's test, baka mapagbalik-baliktad nyo, ha? May Frey test pa, marami pa dito kasi pag natapos ka na to, kalahati na tayo. Enterobacterium chain na, Mycobacterium. Ah? Kaya nyo yan? O sisimplihan ko lang. Schick's test is susceptibility testing for our Corynebacterium diphtheriae. Pinapakita dito kung ikaw ay susceptible or hindi. So therefore, kapag sa test are nag-redness, you are susceptible. Okay? Ang gagawin natin, maglalagay lang tayo ng 0.1 ml toxin and toxoid. Then after that, kapag nagkaroon ng redness sa test arm, that means you are susceptible to acquired Corynebacterium diphtheriae. Please memorize. Dito, pinapakita natin ang Corynebacterium diphtheriae, ulcerans, and pseudotuberculosis. I just want to inform that Corynebacterium ulcerans is the second most common isolate ng ating Corynebacterium. The first is Corynebacterium diphtheriae. Ano ginagawa mo? Nagtatakip ka ng mukha. Now, tignan natin. No? So makikita natin dito, they are catalase positive, beta-hemolytic ang ating pseudotuberculosis, nitrate reduction ng ating diphtheriae. Lahat sila catalase positive at least del halo, itong tatlo lang. Now, hydrolysis. Gelatin hydrolysis ang ulcerans. Yun ang pinagkaiba nilang dalawa ng Corynebacterium diphtheriae. Plus, fermentation. They ferment glucose maltose but not sucrose. That is your Corynebacterium diphtheriae, ulcerans, and pseudotuberculosis. So therefore, to identify gram-positive bacilli, particularly aerobic, pag ito ay halimbawa sabihin natin, gumamit tayo ng CTBA. What is that? Selective media for our Corynebacterium. Pag may growth, halimbawa sabihin natin, no, it produce halo, suspect for Corynebacterium. That is cysteine tellurate blood agar. Pag gamit nag-positive siya, na nag-test ka ng urase positive, that is actually Corynebacterium ulcerans pag glycogen positive, tapos Corynebacterium pseudotuberculosis pag negative ng glycogen. Tandaan, urase positive, ulcerans pseudotuberculosis. Urase negative, Corynebacterium diphtheriae. Kasasabi ko lang kanina. Tama? Yun lang. Next, treatment para mabilis tayo. That is actually for antitoxin. And this one, ito yung sinasabi yung DPT, for example, that is the vaccine for diphtheria. And this, actually, yung mga ibang antibiotics natin, used to clear the infection. Okay? And, of course, paki-memorize other Corynebacterium. We have JKum. Ang JKum, that is considered to be nosocomial and opportunistic. This bacteria is identified in catheter and prosthetic heart valves. That's why they can cause endocarditis. Another, pseudodiptericum, endocarditis, pseudotuberculosis, demonecrotic. Katulad ng ulcerans, it can cause infection. Why? Because they contain dermonecrotic toxin. Naalala? Very good. Ka-striatum, rare infection, normal flora. Another, second most, ulcerans. Zoonotic, but in man, it can cause cutaneous infection from the term ulcer, sugat. And it can be acquired by contact with animals or unpasteurized milk. Urea-lyticum, from the term urea-lyticum, like your Corynebacterium diphtheriae, they are urase positive. Take note, they can cause UTI. Cirrhosis, mucocutaneous, opportunistic, it can cause endocarditis. Another, Machutopi. Si Machutopi, whip with handle, known as Bacterionia machutopi, fragmenting Corynebacterium. Militusimum, underlying redness of the skin, erythrasma. CJK, lipophilic. Pero may ibig sabihin pa ito kay Rodriguez, pakireview. And diphtheroids, ito yung mga normal flora natin in upper respiratory system that sometimes misidentified as Corynebacterium diphtheriae. Please memorize. Okay? Hayaan nyo malapit na tayo matapos, tapos Mycobacterium na tayo mamaya. Extend tayo hanggang 8:30.
Madam, may klase ka, di ba?
Mamayang, 8.
Okay,
May class ako sa Arellano. Ay, hindi. Okay lang, huwag niyo ako isipin. Kayo isipin niyo.
baka mapagod ka.
May boses pa. Laban! 118 pa lang tayo, matagal pa to. Ang dami pa. Masakit na sa buwan ko. Parang base na dasal nyo. Magsalamat nga muna ako. Buibil ako dalawang bote. Okay. Let's continue. Ano pagkakaiba? These are the two most common isolates ng ating Corynebacterium. Your ulcerans and diphtheriae. Hydrolysis, positive ang ulcerans, negative ang diphtheriae. Tapos, ang ating nitrate reduction, positive except for Barbitis. Then last, trehalose fermentation, ulcerans, positive. Okay, paki-memorize yan. Let's have Listeria monocytogenes. Remember, tumbling motility and at the same time, umbrella-shaped motility. Ang ating Listeria monocytogenes is actually a zoonotic infection na kung saan nakukuha ito sa tinatawag nating cattle. Identify dito sa mga abortive cattle. Tinawag siya monocytogenes kasi tumataas ang monocyte cells. Okay? Now, these are Coccobacillus that appears like cocci, but they are primarily infects animals and identified in particularly zoonotic sa mga cattle, particularly dairy products, and processed meats also can contain Listeria. Kapag pinalamig mo ang mga pagkain, particularly dairy products, mas gusto nila yon. Why? They can actually grow at low temperature. These bacteria increase in monocytes in blood, particularly infected animal. And at the same time, they are small gram-negative Coccobacilli. Kapag pinatubo mo sa blood agar plate, they are beta hemolytic. Plus, they are tumbling motility. Underline nyo yan. Parang grape nyo lang. Tumatumbling. Yan. Ay, Listeria monocytogenes. Tumbling motility at umbrella-shaped motility. Okay? And of course, colonies are raised blue-green sa CCNA plus of course, Anton test. That is actually tinatawag nating in vivo test using GDP. Gagamit ka ng 1 to 2 drops, suspension, positive result, redness of the eye of the GDP. That means that there is Listeria infection. Okay, next. Now, ang adults, ang case dito, pwede magkaroon tinatawag nating development of disease, lalo na ang septicemia, and at the same time, kapag na-ingest mo yung bacteria, it can lead to the penetration of the intestine, leading to systemic spread. So, kakalat yan from the small intestine, it will become systemic. What will happen there next? Ang mangyari dito, it can cause septicemia and meningitis, lalong-lalo na sa mga immunocompromised patient. Ang nakakatakot dito, it can cause endocarditis, mild flu-like syndrome, kawawa kapag pregnant ang women. Why? There is post-abortion, or there is spontaneous abortion, or premature labor. Kasi pwedeng silang dalawa ay mamatay. This one, kapag sa bata or neonatal, in early onset, dalawa yan. First, it can have intrauterine transmission of infection. Particularly, it can lead to meningitis or yung tinatawag natin sepsis. Pag late naman, pwede magkaroon tinatawag natin endocarditis or CNS infection. Now, identification. First is that they are gram-positive Coccobacilli. Then after that, makikita mo dito, the blood agar plate, they are beta hemolytic, katulad ng ating group B streptococci. So minsan, napagkakamalian din itong group B streptococci. How can we differentiate? They grow at 4 degrees Celsius. They are catalase positive. That differentiate from streptococci. Plus, they are motile at 25 degrees Celsius and they are tumbling motility in hanging damp method. That is actually for umbrella motility in SIN. How to identify pa? CAM test. Sa CAM test, kung ang beta hemolytic or group B streptococci, there is aerosol. Ang ating Listeria, there is a black hemolysis. Ang tawag dyan, walang aerosol, but we have the term black hemolysis. At ito yon. That is one particular type of hemolytic pattern kapag nagkaroon ng CAM test ang ating listeria compared with what we call now beta-hemolytic streptococci or Streptococcus agalactiae. Nakuha? Next, we have the black hemolysis. Ito yon. Ito yung Staphylococcus aureus. Ito yung Listeria monocytogenes. Then if you're going to compare, this is your Streptococcus agalactiae, zone. This is the black hemolysis, Listeria monocytogenes. Please memorize. To differentiate your Listeria monocytogenes with other bacteria, specifically Corynebacterium, Streptococcus agalactiae, or Enterococcus. Catalase, positive. Lahat yan positive except Streptococcus agalactiae. Esculin hydrolysis. Lahat yan, no, are considered to be esculin hydrolysis, Listeria, and Enterococcus lang. Motility, Listeria lang. Beta-hemolytic, Listeria, and Streptococcus agalactiae, at 6.5%. Tandaan nyo, dito sila nagkapareho. Listeria and Enterococcus. Magkaiba naman kay Streptococcus agalactiae. Makikita natin sa gum stain, they are gram-positive bacilli or resembles Coccobacilli. That agar plate, they are beta-hemolytic. Okay? That is your Listeria monocytogenes. Your umbrella-shaped motility, yan. Next, Erythropoietic luciopathy. That is actually called, yung tinatawag nating zoonotic. Common yan sa piggery or swine. Now, halimbawa, kung ang ating Listeria is actually umbrella-shaped, ito naman ay lump brush or test tube brush colonies, and at the same time, they are the only H2S positive, gram-positive bacilli. Sa gram-negative non-fermentative, isa lang, si Shewanella putrefaciens. Sa gram-positive bacilli, isa lang din, ang H2S positive. That is your Erythropoietic luciopathy. Sa quiz, bawal na ang wrong spelling. Ha? Madali lang o, Erythropoietic luciopathy. Ha? Pag binabasa. Agricotobacter actinomycetum comitans. Oh, mas mahirap yon.
Ma'am, parang ka naglalatin.
Hindi. Pag nasanay kayo, pero syempre, baguhan pa lang kayo. Pero dapat gabi-gabi na para kinigre-rosaryo. Give 2 hours time in bacteriology. Or mamaya, dahil may quiz tayo sa Wednesday, hanggang 4 a.m. Kung gusto nyo talaga pumasa sa akin, ganun yun. Ha? Anong subject? O di mag-review na kayo, hatiin nyo, hanggang 1 o'clock yung bakte, 1 to 4, AUBF, tapos 7, pasok ka na.
Ulang yung review.
Siyempre, magpapasok ka sa school bukas. Ganun na. Hindi mo na kilala isa't isa, tapos nakagano'n ka na. Ganun na. Tapos lahat ka na. Okay, tuloy na natin. Okay? Ang Erythropoietic luciopathy actually is lucio is red, patchy is disease. Sakit ito sa mga nagbababuyan or piggery na parang may sugat. Kaya nga redness, ang tawag doon, erysipeloid. And at the same time, they are pleomorphic, ang morphology, ibig sabihin ng pleomorphic, iba-iba ang size and shape. Microaerophilic and non-motile. And H2S positive. Kung ang Listeria, beta-hemolytic ito, alpha-hemolytic. Plus, colonies are barely visible, 48 hours incubation, tolerant medium, black, H2S positive, but catalase negative. Okay? So yan, paki-memorize. Distributed in nature, infection, erysipeloid. This one is self-limiting. Ibig sabihin ito, kusang gagaling pag magaling yung system mo. Particularly, produces painful swelling, lalo sa mga hands or fingers, and heals within weeks, 3 to 4. Yun nga lang, ang complication kapag ikaw ay immunocompromised, it can lead to endocarditis. Particularly kapag halimbawa, those who have had heart valve replacement. This is erysipeloid. Kaya sabi ko yung mahilig sa piggery. Yan. Okay? And of course, how to identify? Gram staining, gram-positive bacilli, catalase negative, production of H2S at TSI, culture, capnophilic, blood agar, alpha hemolytic, and at the same time, upper grade translucent, pleomorphic. Then, they are variable in shape. Kaya tinawag siyang pleomorphic. Ganito yon. May pagka-filamentous din. And alpha hemolytic sa blood agar plate. Okay? Ito yung ating tinatawag na Listeria monocytogenes. Okay? So this one is Listeria. Sorry. This one is actually Erysipelatix cacusana, letter A. Letter B, beta hemolytic, Listeria. Then this one is Erysipelatix, itong letter A. And B, something 72 hours showing tendency to form long filaments. 24 hours incubation, 72 hours incubation. Ito yung sinabi ko kanina, nung nag-identify yung estudyante ko ng bacteria. Sabi ko, papasama kayo hindi, sabihin nyo lang. Sabi ko dapat, the following day, nag-stain na kayo nung may tumubo. Kasi, kailangan ma-identify nyo properly kung anong bacteria yan. Una, dapat alam nyo kung gram-positive or gram-negative yung bacteria. I gave them unknown. Then they will identify. Nakulamutan ko magnakaw ng MRBP dito kasi yung MRBP namin sa Arellano expired. 2023. Yung ginamit natin, kumpleto nga kami. Kaso nung hinahanap ko yung MRBP, ma'am, kailangan ko to kasi yung Enterobacteria siya yung imbik para makumpleto. Indol, methyl red, box pescower, citrate. Para ma-identify nila kung anong bakterya. Lalo na pag Enterobacteria shape. Tapos yung isa, pinalinis ko yung buong incubator. Lahat H2S positive. Sabi ko, contamination yan. Isa lang ang Proteus dyan sa 5 unknown ko. Tapos lahat H2S positive. Tingnan nyo nga kung ano na-contaminate. Dapat nakita nyo tsura ng H2S positive. Sa LIA, sa TSI, talagang ang ganda, itim. Papakain ko sa inyo yan, sabi ko kanina. Kaya siguro nahilo ako sa kakaano sa kanila. Naawa ko kasi bagsak. Imagine, 175, tapos quiz na 70 items identification. Tapos mag-identify pa ng bacteria na hilo-hilo na din sila. Pasalamat kayo, hindi isang buong araw yung klase ng bakte. Dapat gano'n isang buong araw eh. Diba? Para kahit anong gawin natin. After lecture, quiz. Laboratory quiz. Lec and lab kasi magkasama. After lec, lab. Nahihilo na sila kanina. Ay, kumain muna kayo, sabi ko. Baka mamaya mahilo kayo. Let's have characteristics of our gram-positive bacilli. Ito, i-memorize nyo talaga. Walang halong biro. Kasi ganyan ang gagawin kong quiz sa inyo. Lalagay nyo kung, alibawa, ilalagay ko yung catalase, motility, escalate, maglalagay ko yung positive, negative, positive, gano'n. Kaya? Wala kayong choice kasi gano'n ang ginawa ko sa Arellano kanina. Sinulat ko, halimbawa, Corynebacterium, catalase positive, non-motil, variable of esculin hydrolysis. Listeria, catalase positive, they are motil, esculin positive. Erysipelatix, no? Negative catalase, non-motil, but H2S positive. Siya lang. Diba? Next, Gardnerella vaginalis. Negative lahat, pero glucose fermentized. Next, Rhodococcus. positive for catalase. Next, Rocha dentacariosa, positive ng catalase, hydrolysis, and glucose. And non-hemolytic. Dalawa lang ang beta-hemolytic. Listeria and Arcanobacterium hemolyticum. Last, of course, Owerscovia. Dalawa lang sila, motil ni Listeria. Kaya, next, para mabilis tayo, let's have Corcha. Corcha, we have two common isolates. Corcha zophilii, Corcha gibsonii. Pangalan nyo yan pagkabalang anak nyo, ha? Zophilii, gibsonii. Yan. Corcha, ha? Yan, paano nyo makalimutan? These bacteria are actually motile at 37, pero non-motile at 20 degrees Celsius. They are gram-positive bacilli, isolated sa spoiled meat and even water, feces, milk, and abattoir. And of course, it can cause endocarditis. Ang pinaka-common isolate dito, si Corcha zophilii. Corcha zophilii, underline rhizoid, and small gray colonist. Katulad ng ating Bacillus anthracis, they appear medusa head. Yun nga lang, ito sa yeast extract. They are catalase positive, oxidase negative. Gelatinous slope, feather-like ang growth. How to differentiate? Walang spores ang Corcha, negative fermentation ang Corcha, gelatin liquefaction, negative ang Corcha, na positive lahat kay Bacillus. Nakuha? Next, Rocha. Parang si Bineberocha. Rocha dentacariosa is actually an oral cavity flora. Yun nga lang kasi, sabi ko sa inyo last time, pag oral cavity, it can cause endocarditis. And at the same time, these bacteria are yet undesignated by CDC, but they are coliforms, which can cause, ito na, bacteremia, endocarditis, wound, and eye infection. That is your Rocha. And Rocha, ang tawag natin dyan, catch-crutch disease. Tatlo ang nagkakos ng catch-crutch. Rocha dentacariosa, Pasteurella montuosida, and yung isa is, kasasabi lang kanina. Pina-exam ko yun eh. Tatlo yun. Pasteurella montuosida, Rocha dentacariosa, and Bartonella henselae. Bartonella henselae. O, diba? Tatlo yun. Si Rocha ang una. Pag sabi mong catch-crutch disease, nakukuha yan pag may alaga kang pusa. Localized infection. Yun nga lang, they are non-motile, pero filamentous. Pag sabi mong filamentous, mahaba yung kanilang rods. Catalase positive, nitrate reduction positive, and hydrolyzed espurin. That is your Rocha dentacariosa. Okay? Nakuha. Next, we have also our differentiation of the test. Listeria beta-hemolytic, Erythropoiesis alpha, Corynebacterium varmitis lang ang beta-hemolytic. Tama? Tama. Okay. Motile, isa lang, Listeria. Catalase positive, except Erythropoiesis. And H2S, Erythropoiesis lang. Next, Arcanobacterium. Next to our Listeria na beta-hemolytic, Arcanobacterium hemolyticum. They are catalase negative, but they are beta-hemolytic. Yun nga lang, they have a black dot on agar surface under colony. Ito yung ating Arcanobacterium hemolyticum. This is actually the colony. Okay? Gram-positive bacilli. Gardnerella vaginalis. Ang Gardnerella vaginalis, these bacteria are the ones that causes VV, bacterial vaginosis. Ano yun, sir? Once nag-increase ang pH ng isang patient, no, particularly vagina, there is a possibility na nagdodominant ang ganitong bacteria. Although they are identified in the vaginal lining, kapag tumaas ang pH more than 4.5, they will invade the vaginal lining, leading to vaginosis. How will you identify that na may vaginosis sila? Malodorous discharge. Medyo may amoy. Why? Kasi ganito yon. Maraming normal flora sa babae. Meron silang Lactobacillus acidophilus. The Lactobacillus acidophilus is a bacteria that maintains acidic pH. Pag nawala yun at nangibabaw ang Gardnerella vaginalis, that's the time na nagkakaroon ng vaginosis. Sometimes they call this bacteria school of fish. And they are pleomorphic gram-positive, which can be identified intracellular, specifically epithelial cells. That is your Gardnerella vaginalis. Next, culture, SBA, 57% carbon dioxide, and they can grow in human blood by layer twin agar. Nocardia. Ang dami yan, no? Para pala nakakaano-windang din pala gram-positive bacilli. Ngayon ko lang na-realize. Kawawa din pala kayo pag binememorize nyo yan, no? Kailangan nyo ng isang linggo. No? Pero hindi. Kailangan gawin nyo isang araw lang yan. Wala kayong choice sa akin. Kailangan nyo aralin yan ng isang gabi. Or 3 days. Wala kayong choice. Wednesday quiz nyo na. 50 items lang. Identification. Wednesday. Okay, let's continue.
Magpapabait kami today, pero
Wala talaga.
Panglima na yan.
Ayan yun na. Nocardia. Nocardia. Nocardia actually is identified as a fungi. They resemble sa fungal-like organism. Why? Kasi they are filamentous. And these bacteria are acid-fast. They are difficult to identify in gum staining. Pero ito, filamentous, but they resembles underlying hyphal material. They have branch hyphae, morphologically resembles fungi. Ano ba ang hyphae? Ito yung parang tinatawag nating stem ng fungi. Diba? Naka-ready tayo kasi hanggang 8:30. So, ito yung parang stem ng fungi. So, halimbawa sabihin natin, pag sabi mong hyphal, kaya nga they are identified as what you call na fungi. Dito. May mga nocardia identified as bacteria at may mga nocardia identified as fungi. Now, one, that depends on the infection. Second, that depends on the morphology. But most, what you call now, nocardia, kapag nag-resemble ng branch hyphae, they are considered fungi. Ano yung tsura ng hyphal material? Ganito. Ito siya. Parang siya yung parang stem ng ating fungi. Kaya tinawag siyang hyphal material. Kapag alam sabihin natin yung molds, pag nakita mo yung amad, di ba? Vegetative sa tinapay, that's actually the hypha. Pag sinil mo sa microscope, ganyan siya. Okay? That is your nocardia. But remember, molds grow at 25 degrees Celsius. Room temp sila. And take note, most nocardia can able to what you call now infect immunocompromised patient. Ibig sabihin, sila yung mga mahihina ang immune system. What are the most common nocardia isolates in the laboratory? We have the following, no? Nocardia asteroides, Nocardia brasiliensis. They are slow growers. Medyo matagal. Kailangan mo pang identify yan 3 to 6 days. At the same time, primarily infect yung mga tinatawag nating mga immunocompromised patient. Yun nga lang, kapag they are immunocompromised, mataas ang mortality rate. One good example, Nocardia asteroides, infection in the lungs. Particularly respiratory or pulmonary. How do they acquire? Inhalation. Alam nyo guys, madalas sa mga fungi, kapag systemic infection, kapag malala, is respiratory by nature. Okay? Another, brasiliensis, cutaneous naman, traumatic entrance in the skin. And others, we have the following. Now, our colonies of nocardia in our chocolate agar may pagka-dry. Kadalasan kapag nilagay mo sa media, mga fungi dry sila. paki-memorized. Kaya, think positive. Let's start with, sige, burahin ko muna. Yung mga nilagay ko kanina. Ay, ayaw. Na-save ba yan? Ay, ayaw naman muna. Ha? Okay. Sige, let's start with actino madura maduri. That is the Maduras foot. Nakakita na kayo ng Maduras foot? Ganito. Ganito ang Maduras foot. Yung malaki. Yan. That is actino madura maduri. Actino madura. That is fungal infection. May sinus, may fluid sa loob. Now, this particular infection, actually, pag makikita natin sa morphology ng gram stain, they are fragmentation with spores intertwining. Colony, white to pink pigment, mucoidal, 2 weeks pa. Gordonia, short rods. They are, example, pigmented, Gordonia sputi, and Gordonia bronchialis. Mycobacterium, next topic natin yan, strongly acid-fast. They can grow 2 to 6 weeks. Nocardia, intertwining, branching, extremely variable. Underline, chalky white in blood agar plate. Rhodococcus, dipteroid, non-hemolytic, and they are salmon pink. Ay, nawala. Then, after that, we have also streptomyces. Meron tayong streptomyces that are considered to be glabrous and waxy. Parang nakakita kayo ng amag, ganon. No? And they have a brown-black hyphal material. Chucamurella. These are rhizoid edges and dry white to cream morphology. Yan ba ang sinasabi yung 100 items lang? O, gram-positive bacilli pa lang to. Meron pa tayong Mycobacterium, meron pa tayong Enterobacteriaceae. Let's continue. Tapusin na natin ang gram-positive bacilli. Ang konti ano? Hala? Compare sa AUBF nyo, mas madami yun. Let's have how to identify nocardia, gram-positive, branching filaments. Guys, weakly gram-positive lang sila. But they can be best identified using acid-fast staining. And most of the sample, kapag alibawa, nocardia asteroides, no, respiratory, like sputum, or aspirated sample, may show BD, and they are the only filamentous bacteria that are positive for paraffin-based test. Yan yon. And they are the only filamentous acid-fast aside from Mycobacteria. Let's have Actinomycetus, Actinomycetum comitans. These are gram-negative, wrong spelling wrong, non-motile. Kung may Erythropoietic Luciopacea, Actinobacillus, Actinomycetum comitans. Hindi. Gusto ko kompleto. Hindi ba na yung AA?
Isa pa lang yung sinasagot mo.
Now, like Rhotia dentacariosa, these bacteria are actually normal flora ng oral cavity. But they can cause periodontitis and, ayun na nga, endocarditis. That is your Actinobacillus, Actinomycetum comitans. Then meron pa tayong other, Actinomadura maduri, Streptomyces, Gordonia, si sputi, sinabi ko kanina, Chucamurella, walang chuchu dito ha, Rhodococcus, and the Whipple's disease, Tropinema. Let's have the last. Lactobacillus. Lactobacillus are microanophilic. At ito ang bacteria na nagbibigay ng acidity sa vaginal lining ng babae, particularly Lactobacillus acidophilus or Dodderline bacillus. And at the same time, they are fermenters. Pag Lactobacillus acidophilus, vaginal lining, lower the pH. Vulgaris, yogurt. Pag Yakult, Shirota. That's all for gram-positive bacilli. 10 minutes break after that.